Todd, good to have you on the show. It's Ross Tucker today filling in for Dan. I guess the question in my mind is just, how does that happen? I mean, he's arguably the best player in the world to hit the ball twice into the water, especially that second one. How? How does it happen? Explain that to me.
Well, look, I'm out here on the PGA Tour, and I see these guys all the time. It's confidence is such a fragile thing. And when you have a lead, it doesn't matter if it's a major or not. When you have a 54-hole lead, it is a burden that you are going to take into Sunday. Now, you magnify that with the opportunity of winning a major championship, the Masters, and that weight becomes even heavier. That also being said, like I mentioned, I've been on the road following Jordan's last two starts, and he has openly admitted in his last two starts that he has not felt comfortable over the golf ball. He has not felt comfortable at times on the greens. So I was actually anticipating him to have a somewhat average Masters from everything that I've seen and heard from him. But to his credit, he had, as he called it, his B- game and was able to grab a 54-hole lead. And he did that with a great short game and a great putter. So it was a little surprising in my opinion, but I think the weight of having the lead on Sunday and also knowing that he didn't have his best stuff finally caught up to him, because it in his mind had been a little bit of smoke and mirrors the first 3 days.
We're talking with Todd Lewis of the Golf Channel, at Todd Lewis GC on Twitter. So explain to me, that's not a big golfer. I'll get into that a little bit later in the show. Explain to me why on 12 you hit it anywhere close to that water when you still have such a sizable lead.
Well, I mean, probably strategically that wasn't the right thing to do. I mean, you also have to bring in the mechanics that I mentioned as well, where he, wasn't putting the golf ball where he wanted to a lot of times heading into the Masters. But yeah, with a sizable lead, a 5-shot lead, you go left over there. Even if you jump it in the bunker, go long. But we didn't really get into the breakdown because Jordan was a little upset, obviously, and emotional. Didn't get into the breakdown as to what his strategy was that hole, if that was a mechanical issue or a bad strategy issue or even a mental issue. But yeah, you got to go long and left on that hole to have, just get out of there with a bogey. Even if you're coming off 2 straight bogeys, 10 and 11, those are hard holes. Get out of the bogey, you still have a sizable lead, and well, not a sizable lead, a lead. And then you can make your way to 13, which is a birdie hole, 15, which is a birdie hole, and just keep things going.
It's kind of amazing that we've been on the show for almost 2 hours now, and I think the only thing, Todd, I've said about Danny Willett is that I'm impressed that he had the guts to ask his wife to get induced 10 days early or whatever he did, because I don't know if I would have had the guts to ask my wife to do the same thing. But for Danny in particular, I mean, I'll be honest, I never heard of him. Should I have heard of him? And who is Danny Willett, and what was so impressive about what he did yesterday?
Well, I mean, you said yourself you're not a huge golf fan, and he's pretty good. I mean, he came into the Masters 12th in the world. So, I mean, this isn't some flash in the pan, Sean DeKeel, Y.E. Yang won major championships. This is a guy that has been trending in the right way and playing very well. He's won many times in Europe, hasn't won here in the United States. And obviously that has changed now. He's inside the top 10 in the world. Now he's ninth. And he's 28 years of age, roughly the same age as Jason Day and Rory McIlroy. So, and Ricky Fowler, he's in that same little category. So he could be one of these 20-somethings that could emerge as well. But I get what you're saying. I mean, people are talking about what happened with Jordan more than they are with Danny, because this goes into what Rory McIlroy did in 2011 and what Greg Norman did when he lost his 6-shot lead on the final day to Nick Faldo. The interesting thing about those two and those comparisons, as I get back to Rory McIlroy, after that collapse, has yet to win a green jacket. Greg Norman never won a green jacket. Now, Jordan has one in his closet. I'm interested to see how he reacts now when he comes back for competition and he has an opportunity to win once again.
We're talking with Todd Lewis of the Golf Channel. How amazing is it that I even just asked Todd a question about Danny Willett, and he finished it with Jordan Spieth? I mean, and I'm not knocking you, Todd. It's just funny because he is the story. What would we be saying today? What would you be saying to me right now about Jordan Spieth if he ended up winning by 4 strokes yesterday?
It's interesting. We're obviously in the television business with the Golf Channel, and as Jordan made the turn and he had a 5-shot lead, we have a 2-hour show after the Masters called Live from the Masters, and our producers and everyone, and myself, anchors, analysts, you name it, we had what we call teasers ready, all these statistics ready. He was going to, break about 9 to 10 records. So we were just ready to coronate, Jordan Spieth. Hey, look out, Tiger! Here comes Jordan Spieth. He was in contention at all 4 majors last year. He won 2 of them. But now you have to 180 and shift and wonder moving forward how damaging this loss was, because it was. I mean, it was a collapse. You said it. How damaging this was for him moving forward into the major championship season. We just don't know. Now, I will say he's 22. We are used to seeing Jordan Spieth in 2015 because he raised the bar so high, being in competition, and we often hear him speak, and we forget. And we look at his hairline, too, and we forget that he's 22 years of age. But he's still growing. He's still maturing, not as a player, but also as a person. And he's doing it in a big fishbowl. So I see these guys and the demands from media and fans, corporate sponsors, and everybody that's on their shirt and hats, what's going on with them. And it's a big adjustment. So not to mention the internal drive that you have. So I'm interested to see how Jordan reacts to this.
Do you think it would have been as big a deal, Todd, if he won yesterday as like when Tiger won by 12 strokes or when Tiger won back-to-back? I don't know if it's because I'm older now and I've got kids and I'm just busy with other stuff. But as big a deal as Jordan Spieth is, even if he had won yesterday going away, it still doesn't feel close to as big a deal as Tiger Woods. Is that because he's not African-American? Is that because he doesn't have an awesome first name like Tiger? I mean, are you feeling the same thing I'm feeling in that regard?
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, Tiger urbanized golf. He broke down walls. He brought golf into the city, made it hip, made it cool. And you're right. The name, the fact that he was a minority in the game, I think all of those factors made him electric. And the fact that he was a stone-cold killer on the golf course. Now, the difference between Tiger and Jordan is marketable because of his all-American Golden Boy image and his great personality. Look, I'm not knocking his personality either. I mean, he really is a genuinely good person. His parents deserve a lot of credit for that. But I think there would be, to be honest with you, if he'd have won by 5 shots, as you theoried, I think there would be a general excitement, but of a different variety. It wouldn't be the urban flavor like Tiger brought, but it would be the nice guy. Hey, I want my son to be like this kid. Hey, I want my daughter to date this kid. That kind of different mentality.
Wrapping up with Todd Lewis from the Golf Channel. Todd, did Jordan Spieth choke yesterday? And are you okay with people saying he choked, using that word?
Choke is a hard word. I mean, it is a really hard word. I'll only use the word that he used. After he hit his second shot into the water, he looked to his caddy, Michael Greller, and he said, "I feel like we're collapsing." So I'll use collapse because that's his word. And but yeah, he gave it away. He knows it. He left the grounds at Augusta National, and he said one thing. He said, "I had to get my green jacket back," and he said it in kind of a joking way to kind of make light of the moment. But indeed, he knows that that's true, and it's heartbreaking, and he gave it away.
Todd, great stuff. Really appreciate the time. People can check you out on Twitter at Todd Lewis GC, and of course, you're all over the Golf Channel. Thanks so much.
My pleasure, guys.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.